All right, welcome back to the channel. This is the 7-5 Betrayal in Blue, cops who've crossed the line, bad cops, obviously. We talked about that earlier. Not all cops cross the line. I really should correct that uh, and specify at the beginning. So it's bad cops that cross the line. Cops don't cross the line. Bad cops cross the line. Maybe I should change the whole title. Anyway, uh, in the description below the video, you'll see links to my social media, to the book, my book, Betrayal in Blue, and my partners, my co-authors. Also to the 7-5 video. If you haven't seen it, I know it's not online no more. Netflix took it off, and I'm not sure if it's on Amazon no more, but you can purchase the video. It's on Amazon. So you can check that out if you like, if you haven't seen it, but you probably have if you're watching this channel. Also, there's a link down below for merchandise, t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, other things like that. All right, I want to thank last week's guest who came on, New Jersey trooper, New Jersey officer, and shared his views on the police department. He's a good friend of mine, as you guys found out in the video. Okay, this week's video, I'm talking about a Baltimore police officer. His name was Eric Banks. He is charged with first-degree murder, among other charges. This is for a crime he did not commit as a police officer. He is a police officer, well, probably going to be, was at this point. He's a veteran, not really a veteran. He's been on the job since 2018, so he's been on about 4 years. He wasn't charged for any crimes he did while he was on the job, on duty. It was an off-duty crime, first-degree murder. He was having a custody dispute with his wife. I'm assuming it was his wife or his ex-wife. They were sharing custody of his stepson, so it was his wife's actual son. He had the son for the weekend. The wife went over to pick up the stepson, her son, his stepson, and he claimed that the kid wasn't there. It was a 15-year-old kid. His name was Deshaun James. He was 15 years old. So she called the police, the good cops. Police showed up to the scene. They questioned Mr. Banks, Officer Banks, and he claimed that, once again, that his stepson was not there, that he had left the residence. He had no idea where he was. So as they were questioning him, he became combative. He assaulted one of the police officers. He tried to take the officer's weapon. He was also charged with assault on a police officer and resisting arrest. They subsequently searched the house. They found the 15-year-old stepson. Not found him. Well, they found him, but he wasn't alive. They found his body, is what I should say. They found his body hidden in a attic crawl space. So that's where the first-degree murder charge comes in. The body was sent to the medical examiner. The medical examiner did an autopsy, and it was ruled a homicide due to asphyxiation. If I said that right, pronounced it right. There were also marks on his face and bruising around his throat, around his neck. So Banks was also charged with child abuse, obviously. His lawyer gave a statement to the press that obviously he's trying to prepare a defense for Mr. Banks, and he gave the statement that it could possibly have been a hanging and that the stepson hung himself and was a suicide. So he's trying to prepare a defense and put that out there. Emmy claims otherwise, obviously. He's the one who did the autopsy. I'm assuming the defense is going to probably try to do their own autopsy with their own medical expert and combat it. Banks made a spontaneous utterance when they arrested him. I want to read this exactly as he stated it, because it was in quotations all over the place. When they cuffed him up and put him in a car, so it's probably on video in the car. "My life is over. Choke me, choke me." And that was his he just spurted it out. No one was questioning him. It was spontaneous utterance is what it's called. So if you read into it, that looks like guilt. I mean, and also he had absolutely the defense lawyer, and Mr. Banks had absolutely no reason, no reasonable explanation, no explanation given at all of why Officer Banks hid the body in the attic. So, I mean, obviously, things are leaning towards it was a criminal act. They probably got in some type of dispute over who knows what, and he choked them. You know. So that'll play out in the courts. That just happened this past week. And trying to keep these videos short. I don't know why people keep writing me. They like to listen to it in a car, I guess, like a regular podcast. You could play YouTube in your car, just like anything else. You don't have to watch the video part. You could just hear the audio. All right, so going to go on to a quick Q&A. Q&A was the other officer. This was I know you guys don't like me pushing merchandise, but that's one of the coffee mugs. Welcome to the land of F. The 7-5, do or die. That's what it says at the bottom. Probably can't see it with the glare. All right. So the Q&A was, someone wrote in, were the officers I spoke about in video 9, episode number 9, ever arrested for the crime I was talking about? So I had to actually go back and look, because I've done, this is now, I think, the 20th video. So I don't really remember each and every video. So I went back and looked. So in that video, I spoke about when my partner and I, my ex-partner and I, and 3 other officers and a civilian did a raid on a bodega for Adam Diaz. It was a competitor of his. He wanted us to knock him out, steal the money and drugs. So the short answer is no, they were not arrested. It was 2 ex-police officers from the 7-5. They were not arrested. There was 1 active police officer from a Queens precinct, was not arrested. And the civilian also that participated in the crime was not arrested. And I'll try to explain why. When I became a cooperating witness after my arrest and my partner's arrest, and then the whole home invasion, kidnapping, robbery, murder scheme came down, and I cooperated when I sat down with the federal government for the second time, because I didn't cooperate after the first time. One of the guidelines of my cooperation was I have to be truthfully honest and tell them everything I was involved in. So part of the crimes I was involved in, and they also have to back that up by other cooperating witnesses, which there were many. I'm not going to throw them out now. Someday at one point I will. And believe me, there was a lot of them. All the stories have to line up. So if one story is contradicting of another, they obviously know someone is lying, and they need corroborating evidence to back up whose ever story. But most of the cooperating witnesses, all stories, everyone lined up. All right, so when I went in and I told this story to the government, I told them about my participation. I didn't say the officers' names, the ex-officers' names, or the active officer who was involved in it. Also, I didn't even say my ex-partner's name. I just said my ex-partner. Obviously, they were able to figure that out because he was already arrested, and they knew who my ex-partner was. So I didn't give their names. They didn't really push me too much for their names. The internal affairs officers who sat in on the profit sessions, I think they call it profit sessions, did ask a few times who they wanted to know who the active officer was. I didn't say who it was. I just said that it was, an active officer from a Queens precinct. So short answer is no, they were never arrested because there was never really any evidence to put against them. So that is the short answer. The other thing was there's a lot of shit going on with the 7-5 movie. I spoke about it in the last couple of episodes about my contract was extended. Come to find out, there's a lot of problems that happen signing the original contracts, not just mine, but everyone else who's involved, from producers on to the original production company for the documentary. Apparently, MGM financial office made some errors, and that was just found out when I tried to extend my contract. So that is working on being corrected at the moment. So right now, I'm really a free agent. If I wanted to, I could, break balls and go out and try to sell my rights to someone else. I'm not going to do that. I've been sticking with the producers of this since we started this in 2012. That's when the documentary started being produced and filming was going on and interviews and things like that. And then it came out in 2015. And now it's been dragging on for the last 6 years, our life rights contracts. So it's being worked out, and it's hopefully they'll work it out. Otherwise, we put the life rights back up for sale. I also couldn't sell the life rights to my book. I've been approached a couple of times for that, so I'm sure my co-authors will be happy about that. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell. That way you'll know when new videos are coming out. Got a lot more stuff coming up, not just about crimes, but about things that have gone on. And I'm trying to get an interview for you guys. Hopefully it'll come through, and we'll see what happens. All right. Thanks so much for coming out, and appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments. Thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.